What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? Welcome to Butterbee's Thoughts, the space where real ones come to speak their mind. We talk relationships, life, culture, and everything in between. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and straight from the soul. If you're ready for some truth that makes you think, you're in the right spot. Let's vibe.
What up, y'all? It's Butta B, and we back for another episode of Butta B's Thoughts. Definitely appreciate y'all love from the last episode. We got a lot of followers, a lot of likes, a lot of subscribers. Just keep engaging. Every week we're gonna drop these episodes. Definitely appreciate the love. Got my man Ant back here. What up, Ant?
What up, what up?
For real. This week we're gonna talk about relationships and my thoughts on certain questions that the fans sent over to us. Ant's gonna ask me some questions, and I'm gonna try to give y'all my best answers on them. If y'all disagree, agree, drop it in the comments. I'll definitely engage with y'all and let y'all see what y'all thoughts are as well on these questions. All right, let's get it started.
All right. So we got the first question from one of our followers. Is love always enough to make a relationship work?
Nah, love is not always enough. Unfortunately, in the fantasy world it should be, but in this world it's not, because you got other aspects in a relationship, such as the financial aspect. You got, things like kids involvement. Sometimes kids cause a relationship to break up. You got like lack of emotions, lack of sex, lack of a lot of things that could be in a relationship where you still love a person, but you're not getting those things. And if you ain't getting them, then you probably gonna walk away, and unfortunately, it's away from someone that you probably was in love with for 2, 3, 5, 10 years or whatever it is. So no, to answer the question, unfortunately, love is not enough. Wasn't that a song?
I don't know. What's it?
Love is enough. I don't know. Y'all look it up. Let me know if that's a song or not.
Leave it in the comments because I want to know. So, soulmates.
Right.
Do you think a soulmate is real?
Soulmate is real. So I'm gonna say this: soulmates is definitely real, but always remember you can have more than one soulmate. There's not just one soulmate. Someone who you click with, you getting to know them. Everything is right. Your jokes is funny to them. Their jokes is funny to you. Everything is right, and it lasts for years upon years upon years. That's a soulmate, right? But then, certain things could kick in where it causes y'all to break up. Someone could have slipped up and cheated, let's say. Just because that person cheated doesn't mean that you're not their soulmate. They might have made a mistake, but, that's your non-negotiable. You broke up with them. Now they got to go find somebody else. And there's another person in the world that could possibly make that person just as happy. So they could be another soulmate. So I do think soulmates exist because, I think I've met my soulmate. And I'm gonna say this like from the bottom of my heart. I had thought I had I met my soulmate, 20 years ago, and we was together for about 20 years as well. And things didn't work out, and now I met my new soulmate, and I'm happier than ever, for real.
Do you think people sometimes outgrow a soulmate, or just fail to grow at the same pace?
You can outgrow your soulmate, definitely. So if you're getting to know somebody and, a year's gone by, 2 years gone by, that person, could be slower at their experiences, the life experiences that they're experiencing, than you are. So you could be going through a whole lot and you're growing, but it doesn't mean that they're not your soulmate. You're just growing at a different pace, and you should be bringing that person up to your level, and vice versa. If that person is growing at a pace faster than you, and this could happen throughout the relationship at different times as well. So just always keep in mind, never feel like, I'm better than this person or whatever, because once you start thinking like that, that relationship is over. Your girl, if you're a guy, your girl could be going through some experiences where she feel like, I'm outpacing him as far as the things that I'm learning in life. And, she can still love you, and she could be telling you about those experiences, and, going through those experiences that with her is bringing you up as well. So what I would say is that you can outpace your partner, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. Do you think women are more willing to raise their man, or a man is more willing to raise their woman up?
Well, by default, men is raising their women. You know, by default, you know, if you take care of your woman, like our last episode, make sure y'all check it out. You know, the man is typically the provider, right? So just by that, you raising your woman a little bit. And you know, I know for me, I'm more than willing to wait to raise my woman to my level, because you know, you don't typically, you want somebody to be able to have a conversation with you. You want someone who's going to understand you, the things that you're going through in life. You want to be able to talk it out with them. You don't want to be making all the decisions with no input from your partner. So I think men are more likely to raise their to raise their woman than women are, because women are emotional creatures. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep things in or whatever, and then you know when they finally let it out, it's an emotional let out. You know, a cry, a yell, a scream. It's not more about trying to understand. And this is not all women, so don't come at me in the comments. Not all women. If you ain't like that, that's cool. But for most women that I've seen dealt with, is always, you know, the emotional let out rather than the I'm trying to pull my man up and keep him get him on the same level as me because of the experiences I've been through.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can two people be meant for each other and still not be able to make things work?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, let me take that back, because if you're meant for each other, then you're gonna make it work. You know what I'm saying? So it's you can, and just keep in mind that can change throughout the relationship as well. So you could be meant for each other, and you were meant for each other for the first 5 years of the relationship. And then after those 5 years, you ain't meant for each other no more because of whatever changes, you know, happen in the relationship. So you could be met for each other, and when you're met for each other, you're gonna be together. You're gonna work things out. You're gonna talk things through. You're gonna have fun with each other. And when you're not met for each other, is when the friction is gonna start happening. Where you know one party's lying, one party's cheating, one party's not being financially responsible. You know, whatever amount of whatever things you come up with in a relationship for breakups, those things are gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Should you ever go back to someone you still think about, or let it stay in the past?
I think you could go back. You definitely can go back. I'll never say never go back.
But some people say that when they're in the past, they're in the past for a reason.
I mean, those people is closed minded. That's a closed minded way of thinking. If you know, if you're thinking about somebody that's from your past, right, and let's say the person is thinking about you as well, which is from their past, and you meet up again, and you know you've grown from whatever the reason was that y'all broke up or separated. If y'all both grown and now this is the time that y'all should be together, this is y'all season, y'all can make it work. I know plenty of people that's you know broken up and got back together years down the line, and it's worked out. You just gotta grow, you know, during that time to exactly what each partner needed them to be. But yeah, you definitely could go back. I would never leave somebody in the past if I felt like, you know, there was the one I should have been with, as long as they feel the same way.
I'm the type that stick to the if it's in the past, leave it in the past.
That's cool, man. You could think that way, but I feel like that's a closed-minded way of thinking. You could probably lose out on someone good, you know. But if your future is you know bright and you got something good ahead, by all means, it's not for everybody. But I personally, if you know there was somebody in my past and I'm thinking about them, and I'm at another level in my life than I was when I was with them, and I meet up with them, I see them in a you know in a club or a bar or whatever, and we start talking, and you know I find out you know this has changed for them, and they find out this has changed for me, and we decide we want to link up, start talking. I wouldn't leave it in the past just because it was the past. You know what I'm saying? That's just me
And that's just me.
though.
So, what do you think is harder, letting someone go, or watching them be happy with someone else?
I think it's both.
You know,
I know that the fans want to know an exact answer. I think it's both, but it's gonna be twofold because you got the initial breakup. That's gonna be heartbreaking. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough because when you break up with somebody, you know your heart was in it, your emotions are all in it. So that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard. You know, like to the point where, you know, some people even think about killing themselves when they can't be with the person that they want to be with. That's the emotions, the kind of emotions that's tied into them. And then, let's say that person moves on with somebody else quickly, like a month down the line, 2 months down the line. That can add on to it. So that's why I say both. It's like an addition to that heartbreak. But if a year goes by, 2 years go by, and that person meets someone, it's not gonna hurt as much because at that time, you probably grew a little bit. You was able to let them go, detach some of that emotion, and now seeing that person, if you really love them and you really want them to be happy, you see them with somebody that they happy, it ain't gonna hurt as much as it would have initially. So that's why I say it's both. But if I had to pick one, I would say the initial breakup. That'd be the most heartbreaking part.
So you're gonna stick with the initial breakup. So even if you seeing them on social media, on Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
and you seeing them with their new piece,
How much time has gone by?
say 6 months to a year,
That's still kind of new.
and you seeing them with their new piece, they whining and dining and
It
traveling
wouldn't hurt as much as the initial breakup. It might bother me, you know what I'm saying? Like if I still have a little bit of emotions in me for them, but it won't hurt as hard as the initial breakup for me. And this is another way of how you got to control your emotions. You don't see them on Facebook or whatever, block. I don't want to see none of that. You know what I'm saying? That's how you grow. You let that person go. I don't want to know nothing you doing. I don't want to see you. Your friends is your friends. Tell your friends, we were cool when we were together. Now I don't want to talk to your friends. I want to know nothing about your life. Go on about your life, and I'm gonna go on about my life. And that way, when the time passes and I'm able to let you go fully, then if I see you with your man or whatever, it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be happy that you're happy.
So you unfollow the ex and all the friends and everything that came with that ex.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. If it's a friend, like that we didn't really talk to or whatever like that, it was just kind of social media kind of thing. I might still let it rock. But if I see they post something with the ex, then they block, just like that. You know what I'm saying? It's that mental exercise I keep telling y'all.
So how do you know when it's truly over, even if your heart is still in it?
If your heart is still in it, it's truly over because of the amount of anger that's inside of you for whatever the reason is that y'all broke up. You know that feeling because you always gonna have your heart in it. Initially when you break up, but I'm gonna just give an example. If you broke up because this person cheated on you or whatever, right? You got your brain and you got your heart, and your brain is telling you this person cannot be trusted. And as long as you can control your emotions, you're gonna follow your brain. And your heart is telling you, this person, we had history with each other. We did this. Maybe we had a kid with each other, whatever. So that's what your heart is telling you. But your brain, this person can't be trusted. There's no way you're gonna be able to live the rest of your life with somebody that you can't trust. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta follow your brain. I always say follow your brain first, because your brain is the one that's actually thinking without the emotional attachment. So follow your brain, and then your heart comes after.
Okay. Can your soulmate come back after time apart?
Most definitely, your soulmate definitely could come back, and it's just a matter of growing. If you broke up, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, and you guys came back together, you gotta have that communication. You gotta talk about whatever the reason y'all broke up before, and genuinely be honest with yourselves about the reasons y'all broke up and how you both grew from it. And if you feel like your partner is genuine and they actually grew from whatever the reason was, you could definitely make it work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're down to our last question from the followers.
All right.
The last question is, what lessons did you learn from the person you let go?
Well, lessons that I learned. I mean, it depends. So, every breakup is gonna be different, right? So there was a girl I dated before my current girl, right? And one of the things that I learned, and this is why I stress it, always look for the red flags in the beginning of a relationship. Anything, I would say, just write a list of your non-negotiables, write a list of things to look for, and stick by it. I can't stress that enough. You got a lot of people just go into like dating someone to relationships, and if it feels good, I'm gonna just keep going, right? Every relationship's gonna feel good in the beginning, every single one of them. You just gotta look for those red flags, and some of those red flags is like anger. When they get upset, how do they react to anger? Everybody's gonna get upset at some point, right? But some people handle anger differently. So let's say this person, when they get upset, they want to attack you. Like they want to throw stuff. They want to hit you. Things like that. And that's not things you want to deal with long term. So you're gonna know, like, okay, this is not somebody I want to be with, because they don't know how to handle their emotions when they're angry. Maybe you look for something like, if somebody's saying that they don't want to have sex until marriage, or I don't want to have sex for at least 1 or 2 years until I get to know the person. That might work for some people, but if you know that you're a very sexual person, that's probably not gonna work for you, right? So you gotta look for these signs in the beginning, and use your brain, not your heart, as to whether or not you want to continue getting to know that person. And if you use your brain, I guarantee you that you're gonna make the right decisions when it's time to make the decision to continue that relationship or end it right when you see those red flags.
So I got a question.
Yeah, you got a question.
I got a
Man,
question.
you gotta put it in the comments, man. You can't just come out here with your
Let me
questions.
put it in the comments first.
What up?
So at the beginning of a relationship, I always say that a person is showing their representative.
Right.
They're not giving you their true self.
Right.
How do you uncover the real person?
So it's always gonna be looking for signs, because you can't hide all your signs, right? So you're gonna go to dinner with this person or whatever. They're gonna give you their representative. They're gonna be funny. They're gonna be charming. They're gonna open the car door for you. They're gonna give you flowers. You already know that's not happening every single time you guys go out. So you already know that's their representative, right? So you gotta look for those little signs, like let's say it's time to pay the bill, right? And the bill comes, and they're kind of looking at you like, okay, what you gonna put into it? But in your mind, you want somebody that's gonna pay for dinner every time, right? That's a sign. If he's on the first date, he's looking for me to put in something for the dinner, then this is probably not the person that's gonna be the kind of provider that I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like I mentioned with the anger. You know what I'm saying? If they get upset at something, at some point they're gonna get upset. Whether it's the first date, whether it's 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, at some point they're gonna get mad. How do they handle their anger? You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna find the signs. It's just a matter of not ignoring them. We're creatures of ignoring those signs when we're in the beginning of a relationship, because we're in that honeymoon phase, and we want everything to be perfect. But that's your heart talking. Your heart wants you to be happy, to live on cloud nine, to just laugh, joke, sit down, have a drink, listen to music, but your brain is constantly looking like, why you drinking 3 drinks and we only been 10 minutes in? You an alcoholic, bro? Like that's what your brain is thinking. You know what I'm saying? You can't ignore the signs. So I would say in the beginning of the relationship, pay attention to those red flags. I can't stress it enough, man. I didn't do it for years, and I got myself into a lot of situations in which those signs was right there. They was blatantly in front of me that I ignored them. And if I was conscious of the way I am right now, I wouldn't even have wasted years of my life. So I'll leave you with that.
There it is.
All right. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all listening again. Episode number 2. Thank Ann for coming through. Make sure y'all drop those comments. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe on wherever y'all get y'all podcast from. I'm going to make sure that I drop these every week. I even put new content up on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. So make sure y'all follow all of those. I appreciate the love we've been getting. And remember, in the comments, drop your questions for whatever you want me to talk about in the next couple episodes. I'll see y'all next week. I'm out.
Hey.